Hey everybody, Degenerate Z here. Welcome all my degenerates. We are going to go over the odds and some picks for today's Cup Series race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Race number 2 on the year. The green flag is going to drop about 3:15, 3:20 Eastern, 2:15, 2:20 Central here. Um, and just going over the odds on DraftKings, kind of seeing where some value is at, and seeing who may be some good bets to place this week if you're unsure. Um, One thing is we are at Atlanta, just like last week at Daytona. It's a drafting track. It's a crapshoot. Anything can happen. You are going to see the possibility of a guy that's not going to compete um, the rest of the year essentially win today, because that's kind of how it can happen at a track like Atlanta and the kind of racing that comes with racing there. The Xfinity Series race last night I did watch. It was horrible race, super boring. Nothing happened. Single line racing the entire time. No double files. Really nothing. Um, some crazy pit strategy came into play at the end of the race that threw a wrench into things and made the ending somewhat interesting. But man, the first 95% of the race was brutal. Uh, Anybody that was tuning into their first NASCAR race and that was it, um, probably isn't going to come back. But I'm hopeful that was just, maybe it was the time of day where they were running. It was a little later than they'll be running today. Also, the cars in Xfinity aren't as powerful. We kept seeing in the Xfinity race yesterday, usually there's at least two lines, two racing lines, inside, outside, that are going to have cars in them at a track like Atlanta or a Daytona or a Talladega. But at Atlanta, was reconfigured a few years ago to allow for drafting and more Daytona pack-like racing. In the Xfinity race yesterday, there was no inside line. It was non-existent. It's the dude Jesse Love was in his second race. He's a rookie. He somehow made the inside line work one time near the end because he had the best car in the race. Other than that, not a single driver had success trying to make any moves on the inside. Really, really sucked. So anyway, let's hope for an exciting race today and see some good racing, plenty of passing, nobody getting hurt. Just some excitement to get this season started. Last week at Daytona, it was William Byron, who he may not have ever won the 500 before. He may not be a champion yet, but he's well on his way to ascending the championship throne, and he may be the favorite this year. Everybody better look out. But we're going to go into it with our own picks today. It's never fun to just pick the best odds, and plus it doesn't pay out very good. So what I wanted to do is look at three different possible bets. The first that we're going to be betting on is drivers to win straight up today. Obviously, only one driver can do that, but the odds are so high that you never know. Especially at a track like Atlanta, it's very possible that anybody could win. We're also going to put some money on top three finishers. They just have to finish in the top three to be successful in that endeavor. And then finally, we're going to pick some top 5 finishers as well. DraftKings also has some top 10 finishers, some other prop bets, a few other things, or some driver head-to-head bets. We're not going to touch that. We're going to look at winners, top 3 finishers, top 5 finishers. I made 3 picks in each of these categories. One that is closer to being a favorite, or is one of the guys people will think will be in contention. One guy that's kind of middle of the pack for each of those categories, and then one guy near the very back of the field that's a real long shot for each of those 3 categories. So we'll go over it and see kind of how things look and if anybody has any thoughts. First off, as far as picks to win today, our favorite that we're gonna bet on today is going to be Brad Keselowski in the number 6 for Roush Fenway Racing. His odds are plus 1,300. So if you bet $10, would pay out $130 upon winning that bet. He's a great drafting driver, always in the mix at these kind of tracks. Has been so close to a win the last year and a half or so, and is so close to breaking through. If I recall correctly, last year at the early Atlanta race, him and Logano, they dominated and were out front, and they were who the race came down to. So Brad, he's hungry. He's a favorite, but he's not. He's probably like 8th, 9th, 10th as far as who's got the best odds to win. So he's our favorite that we're going to go with. If we're going to go with a mid-pack driver to possibly win, we are going to go with that young Jones boy, Eric Jones, in the 43 Legacy Motor Club car. He's a heck of a wheelman. He can win anywhere. He's a driver's driver. Races great at tracks that aren't necessarily dependent on engine horsepower, to where your driving skill really matters. Atlanta obviously is going to be in the draft, but I think Legacy Motor Club has improved after they moved to Toyota in the offseason, and I think that is going to show early this season. And Eric Jones, if they give him a good car, he'll be right there to contend. I think he's maybe top 5, top 10 at minimum, most talented drivers in the NASCAR Cup field currently. And then if we're going to go for a long shot pick, very long shot, we're going to go Justin Haley in the number 51 for Rick Ware Racing. He just went over to that job this offseason. A lot of people thought it's a step down from his ride at Colleague Racing that he's had. He's a really good drafting driver, pack racer. Had a lot of success in Xfinity on these kind of tracks. Even won the rain-shortened Daytona Summer Race a few years ago. Total luck, but hey, he put himself in the position. But he's a good racer. I think Rick Ware Racing equipment is finally not quite the laughingstock it was, and joke it was. They are in an alliance with, I believe, Fenway Roush Motorsports now, and I think Justin Haley is somebody that he had a great run at Daytona. If he's around at the end, dude knows what he's doing on a plate track. He has a shot. While I didn't mention that Brad K had the plus 1,300 odds to where he'd pay out $130 on a $10 win, Eric Jones is looking at plus 4,500. So you bet 10. If he wins, $450 payout. Then Justin Haley is tied for the longest long shot in the entire field. $10 bet on him with a win would pay out $1,000. So yeah, odds are pretty long, but they hit, man. So then we're gonna look at some guys that we're gonna bet finishing in the top 3. Again, I try to look at a favorite, quote unquote favorite, mid-pack and a backfield driver that could finish in the top 3 here. For our favorites, I really didn't want to go with any major favorites here to get a little bit longer odds to where we can maybe make some money. I'm going to take Chris Buescher to finish in the top 3 in that number 17 Roush Fenway racing machine. He really was strong at the end of the year last year. I think he even won a super speedway race, the second Daytona race possibly last year. But he is plus 700 to finish in the top three. So $10 would pay out 70 for him to finish in the top three. Those Fords, especially with his teammate Brad Kay, I've already mentioned he's the favorite to me kind of to win the race. Buescher is going to be right up there for a top three if he stays clean as well. A mid-pack driver that could finish top three, we're going to look at Corey LaJoie. It's pretty well documented that he's super good at Atlanta, good at drafting tracks, and he's got lower odds than a lot of quote unquote more talented drivers have today. But that's because everyone knows he races extremely well at Atlanta and this style of racing. So Corey is plus 850 to finish top three. So $10 is going to pay out 85 if you would win that bet. The guy's usually around at the end of these type of races, especially at Atlanta. He's really good at Atlanta and Daytona in particular, those two. Finally, as a long shot top three pick, we are going to go with Noah Gragson in the number 10 Stewart-Haas Racing Ford. I don't know what to think of the guy. I really don't think that he should have got another ride right away this offseason, especially with a good team, after how everything went both on and off the track for him in 2023. But hey, he's got money from daddy, and he does have some talent. So he's a really good plate racer. I think that it would not be surprising at all to see him finish top three. He had some really good runs at Daytona, Talladega, and I believe Atlanta as well, since the reconfiguration in the past. So $10 bet for Noah Gragson to finish top three. That's going to pay out 160. So I think that's worth it. The dude's got the skill to do that. Finally, lowest stakes. We're going to look at a few people that we're going to bet to place top five. The favorite we're going to pick is going to be Bubba Wallace, plus 200. So, I mean, it's like you bet 10, you're going to win 20 back if he does finish top five. So, that's not something I want to bet. I don't like the odds. But if I'm going to pick a favorite to go top five and I'm going to have to pick against Brad, I'm going to go Bubba. He's a really good drafting track racer again, as mentioned with a lot of these other guys. As long as he keeps his nose clean, he's usually around at the end. And that team is, I think, going to steadily improve continually through this year. Then a mid-tier driver that may have a chance at the top five, I'm going to go Chase Briscoe, plus 650. So $10 bet is going to pay out 65 if he hits that. Man, we just went over Noah Gragson and Stewart-Haas. Chase Briscoe, I think, is the most talented wheelman in the Stewart-Haas camp currently. Last year was a nightmare season for him. The year before, he was fantastic. A lot of people talked about how Ross Chastain came on at the end of 2022, but Chase Briscoe was up there to me as the most impressive driver in the Cup field that entire season with how he performed. Last year, it was horrible on the track. He got a huge penalty that took the entire team out of any type of contention, even if they were doing great. But man, total nightmare. I look for Chase Briscoe to be the best driver in the Stewart-Haas stable this year. And I'm going to start with a top five for him today here at Atlanta. Finally, my long shot driver to finish top five, I'm going to go with the number 21, Harrison Burton. The Wood Brothers Ford has not been good since Harrison Burton's gotten in there. It's essentially another Penske team, but they are not getting anywhere near Penske results. Harrison Burton, this might be his last year in that ride to try and impress and keep it. Because if not, I don't know, man. He might need to be an Xfinity or a truck lifer because it's he's not showing much so far. With that being said, he has ran pretty well on drafting tracks. Again, kind of the pattern of this whole video, but he's been good on drafting tracks, road courses. I think that Harrison, if he stays clean, could sneak in there for a top 5 at the very end. He's plus 1,200 to do that. So we are looking at $10 bet to pay out $120 if he would finish top 5. So that kind of does it. Those are where I would be placing my money today. If I had to pick one driver in each of those 3 tiers, I would bet on Brad K to win. I feel really good about that. Corey LaJoie to finish top 3, and Harrison Burton to finish top 5. That's a long shot, but you know, I'll take it, man. Drafting tracks are nuts sometimes. So anyway, just hoping it's a good race. It's a close race, not single file the entire time, and we see a little bit of excitement and see how this season's Cup field is shaping up to be. We'll know a little bit more next week. I honestly don't remember where they're going next week. I believe it'll be Vegas. So they changed their early season schedule up a little bit. Used to go, I think, right to the West Coast after Daytona. Now are staying and doing the Atlanta race, obviously. Then I believe they're going west from there. So anyway, we will see how today shakes up. Hope for a good race. Hope to win you some money if you are tailing my bets at all. If I'm totally wrong and everybody crashes out, yeah, don't ever listen to me. So anyway, thank you so much for listening. I will be watching the race. Look forward to hearing your guys' thoughts on the race. Tell me below what you think as far as my picks went. And like, subscribe, give me a comment, and just tell me what's up if you get the chance. And I look forward to coming back and gloating after Brad K wins the race. Yeah, right. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Talk to you soon.